Hi, my name is Lulu, compulsive overeater. We want to make a recording on a vision for you. The website, Vision, for the number four, YOU dot info. That's the link. Um, it's a meeting that's been going on for years. Um, it's a phone meeting. Um, Anything that I say about it, if they've updated anything since the pandemic, uh, I don't think so because it wouldn't affect them because they're a phone meeting, right? I don't think they moved it to Zoom. I don't think they could because there's thousands of people on these meetings, thousands. Um, so they have meetings, and the links are all at on that website. Um, every and they record meetings. So if you're not available for the live meeting, they're all recorded and stored on there. They're all big book. They're all the study of the big book, 2 paragraphs at a time, daily. Um, there's one at, you're going to have to go on the website to find out, but I think it might be 7:30. Then there's one at 8, and then there's or 8:30. Then there's one at 10:30, something like that. And I think the 8 o'clock one is not recorded. So that's for people that would like to go on a meeting and share and not be recorded and stored on the website. So you do have that option, or the other ones are stored. Um, it's just 2 paragraphs of the big book. They stop and share, and they never go on to the next two because there's tons of people that want to share. It's from all over the globe, all over the globe. Um, they have conventions every other year. They have a convention. They skipped this one, like a lot of large gatherings, kind of got the kibosh. But I've been to them. Oh man, they're just powerful, just amazing. Um, they have on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. They have what's called special editions, and they they arrange speakers that have very strong recovery and that are recovered, that have worked the steps in the big book, and they pick their topic. They speak for an hour, and then there's a Q&A for an hour. Those are all stored on the website. They're called special editions. If you see special edition on the top of the tab, you click on it, and thousands and thousands of 2-hour recordings on anything. You can do a little search, step one. Anything regarding step one is will show up. Or if you like a particular speaker, put that speaker's name in once you get to know the speakers. We love Harlan G. I love the way that he goes through the big book. um, I couldn't do it better than Harlan. That's why, before I discuss a um, a chapter with a sponsee, they it's this is part of what assignments that I assign people. You listen to Harlan, go through more about alcoholism. You listen to Harlan, go through Bill's story. You listen to Harlan before we go through it together. I couldn't do it better than him. He's passionate about program, and he takes you through line by line of each chapter in a really miraculous way. Um, and we have his links on our Step It Up blogspot. Um, under the certain chapters, we'll say click here to listen to Harlan's, but you can find them yourself. Sometimes people will do they'll call theirs finding God, finding a higher power. Just write higher power. Anything that has higher power in the title will show up, and it will be people. I struggle with a higher power. How I found my higher power. Um, Defining your higher power. Whatever they chose to name it, but any subject, any step, any step tens. How do I do step tens? Boom, they'll all show up. And they're like a 2 hours that's worth it. And if you start listening to one and you're like, nah, this isn't um, this isn't really resonating with me. It just might be a speaker that you're not connecting with. Not everybody connects with me, which is normal. Um, But I tell you, it's a really good. When I first got abstinent, um, I I I couldn't find any real strong OA big book meetings that I really felt passionate recovery in. Um, that website and those phone meetings were my lifeline. I just hung on every word they said. Um, I listened to every special edition. I was obsessed with Harlan. I was obsessed with listening to him break apart this big book. And I saw him live at a convention, speak at a convention up there, and it was like everybody was hooting and hollering, and and it's so funny because there's some things that he says, it's like his thing that he says, and we all quote Harlan, right? And so he always says, "This isn't a program for people that want it. This isn't a program for people that need it. This is the program for people that does it, the people that do it," right? So that's a Harlanism, right? So he was up there speaking at a convention, and everyone's hooting and hollering. It's like there's a celebrity up there, right? And so he's talking, and doing his thing, and he's so passionate. He's like spitting. You're like, ah! He's so excited. He's very powerful. And so right when he said, this isn't a program for people that want it. So he's doing that thing. And the entire audience, 1,000 people, all said it together. Right. And so as he starts saying it, everyone's going, this isn't a program for people that want it. It's not a program for people that need it. It's a program for people that do it. Said it right along with him. And then everyone cracked up laughing. And he just was like, wow, you listen. I don't think he had any idea that everyone knows that he says that everywhere. God bless him. He lives in Arizona, and he's got a great recovery. I'll just pick out a few names of people that I know that I find their recovery to be amazing, and it would be Harlan G. There's Laurie, Lawrie. He's a gentleman from Canada who has very strong recovery. There's Larry K. Is it Larry K? I think he has very strong recovery. There's what's her name? Um, uh, Something G. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, I guess you'll just have to find your own people. Something G, not Katie G, but oh, she's really good. Anyway, a resource for beginners, a resource for all of us that is very powerful, big book. And it's about where you take 2 paragraphs and you just dissect them and you find every little nugget in every sentence, because every sentence is very deliberate in this book, and every sentence is that's why we need to study it. And it was, and then God bless Shalise, who decided that wouldn't it be great to have a Zoom meeting? And she started this Zoom meeting, talked to me about it, and I said, well, yeah, we could do like the 2 paragraphs at a time, like they do on A Vision for You. So one day I went on A Vision for You meeting, and as I listened to the recording of a meeting, and as they were reciting the format, reading the format of the meeting, I kept stopping and starting it because I was typing it. I was like, this is the format we want. And I kept stopping it and like preamble. We have over, and I'm just going through like what they did, introducing newcomers, who's here for the first time, second or third time, and we copied it and we just used it. Thank God they would love that and not be like we're all copyrighted against each other. We're all here to help each other. And so now we have these meetings. Thanks to Shalise for spearheading that, and that we were doing these Zoom big book meetings, 2 paragraphs at a time, long before the pandemic, long before that. So so when people always ask like where our meetings have originated, they just originated right on Zoom and have always been international. And we have a wonderful international fellowship that is my congregation. It's my parish. And this is where I come to thank God and watch miracles, watch God's miracles. And that's what I have on Vision for You. Do you want to add anything to that? I think we can add,
Yes.
we can also put a PDF in there with some details on it.
Oh, definitely. And a link to their website for sure. Yeah, you just brought me back to early recovery because so when I first started, I was up in Bangor, Maine, and there was one big book meeting and it was on Sundays. And when I got abstinent, I was no longer binging on ho-hos and cupcakes and ding dongs. And I needed something. And A Vision for You ended up being what I binged on. I literally would listen to 2 or 3 podcasts a day and just really fill my soul, fill my cup with recovery, because I did have a really strong recovery meeting on Sundays, but then I had 6 other days until that next meeting was going to be, and I needed that. I needed that extra support. I actually didn't even get on their meetings. The phone meetings didn't work time-wise for me, but the podcasts work anytime because I could just, put it on while I was cleaning or food prepping or whatever, and just listen to recovery. And it was just literally, like I say, it was filling my soul until I could get to that next meeting. So, if you're a newcomer, totally check it out, listen to it. Like you will find some incredible information on there, and just recovery that is just really rich. So more rich than a ding dong. That only lasts a second. Recovery can last a lifetime, right?
Right.
If you work, it works if you work it.
And you're worth it, so work
And
it.
you're worth it.
Yeah.
So work it. That's right.
I remember when I used to listen to the 7:30 or 7 a.m. meeting, I was on the bus commuting into work. So I was like, I can't share. Imagine if I started sharing in a commuter bus. People would be like, well, there's a lunatic. And so I would just listen. And so I didn't participate much. So nobody knew who I was. But they ended up starting, after several years, they ended up starting the meeting later in the morning, like 10,
It's a
10:30, whenever it is, 10 a.m.
Yep.
And that was
Yep.
because of people on the West Coast. Because the
Mhm.
people on the West Coast were like 7 a.m. That's like 4 o'clock in the morning, And it's like, can we have a meeting that's in a more reasonable hour for us? And so that's when they started the one at 10. So it's just a kind of a, I think it's a repeat. Well, I think they might read the same 2 paragraphs. I'm not really sure. I think it might be. I think all 3 of those meetings stay on the same 2 paragraphs, I think. And
Yeah,
but they did that one. That one was added after I started using that website. And they even have a tab of sponsors. So like you can call up the sponsor tab, and anybody that wants to sponsor. If you look at like the members on that, there's thousands. There's thousands of members. So they couldn't even have a Zoom meeting, I don't think.
Yeah, too many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I got a story about that because I lived in Italy for a little while, and I was connected with somebody through A Vision for You that is Italian. She looked on the Italian page and she started looking through names of people that looked to, she's like, I don't speak English, da da da. So she just started contacting people on that list. And my sister happens to have a name that could be, she was on Vision for You, happens to have a name that looks Italian, both first and last name. And so this woman from Italy sent her a message and connected her with me. And she and I have been contacting, or we've been going back and forth on WhatsApp just because of A Vision for You. Like that's how we got connected. So it's just another great place to make connections and outreach, and just rich in your recovery. Is that a word? Enrich your recovery.
Enriching. Yeah. And you know,
Richard,
and the meetings that we have on this same Zoom link as the Step It Up recording sessions, we also have, Monday is big book, 2 paragraphs at a time. Sunday, big book, 2 paragraphs at a time. And then Friday is big book, 2 paragraphs at a time. Personal stories. To go through the personal stories, 2 paragraphs at a time, there's some real gems in those personal
It's
stories.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Yep.
just slow it down, instead of doing the whole, I like the breaking it down. Um,
Yep. Love it.
and I wanted to share a little story real quick. Was somebody sent me a flyer to a speaker event on Zoom, and it was this guy who has been sober in Alcoholics Anonymous, like, I forget, it was like 70 years or something. And he was speaking, and Dr. Bob was his sponsor. Imagine that. This is how this guy is, like, the guy's in his 90s, right? He's been sober for 70 something years, and Dr. Bob was his sponsor. And I got the flyer, and I was like, Sonny and I went to go on it, and we got booted out because they reached their max of 1,000 people. My friend sent it to me from Scotland. So it was an international flyer that was going around. And she sent me it, and she said, I'm on this right now, and there's 917 people here. Hop on. So we went to hop on, and we didn't get on 1,000 limit. Imagine that. Imagine this. I would have loved to have heard him. Anyway, it just the technology really is really broadened. I love the international. I mean, just to have people that you see on a regular basis that come to your quote unquote church, your fellowship, your community from other countries with just. I keep saying, oh, well, that's brilliant and that's lovely. And it's just like our girls out in the UK. And then when they talk about the garden, they're talking about the yard. We call it a yard. They call it a garden. Whenever they talked about a garden, I thought, like, wow, everybody has gardens, but they're not really talking about what's planted there. No, it's just outside the door. It's called the garden. Who knew? Yeah, you learn something new every day. Pretty soon we're all going to have British accents. Anyway, the fellowship is lovely. A Vision for You is lovely. 12 Step It Up is lovely. The big book is lovely. You're all lovely. Thank you for being here, and we're good.